What's up, guys, and welcome to Ghost Bros Gaming. Today we're going to be looking at all the meta-changing cards and archetype support that's coming out in the upcoming set on February 10th called Photon Hypernova. Before we get into it, though, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Without further ado, let's look at all of these cards.
Ghost Bros Gaming.
Alright, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to look at first everything in archetype order, and then we'll look at some of the just meta-changing cards that stand alone in this set. So first up, we're going to go with the Abyss lore stuff, which we all love the Abyss lore. It's got Fallen of Albaz, it's got Ecclesia, the new Cartesia, Bestial Baldrake. And so Bestial Baldrake is being run in the OCG as just kind of like a one-of, and its effect is the same as all the other Bestials, and that it's a quick effect to DD Crow for light and dark, but also you contribute one other light and dark monster and target one of those special summon monsters, banish it. It's a really good card. It's just great disruption for your opponent. Next up is Grand Guignol, the Finale Dragon. We actually mentioned this on one of our market watches earlier, and the reason that this card is so good is not only is it Blazing Cartesia, and then you can also send a level 6 higher or lighter dark monster, i.e. a Bestial monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. And also the new synchro that got revealed as well that are coming out in Cyberstorm Access. But then also, if this card is sent to the graveyard or is in the graveyard and a monster is special summoned by an opponent's activated monster effect, you can banish it from the field or graveyard, special summon one Dogmatica monster from your deck or Despia monster from your extra deck. The way you get this in the graveyard typically I've found is Branded and High Spirits, which I think is a really good card to pick up right now. But Blazing Cartesia is a spellcaster, and so you can use Blazing Cartesia as a target there. Next up is Lindworm, the Hammer Dragon. This one is also really good. It's got a graveyard effect that you can target a Fallen of Albaz or this monster and special summon it and then banish the other. And then its on-field effect is that when basically a monster from the extra decks activates its effect, you can negate that effect and return one monster on the field to the hand. A lot of times you're going to have a Bestial on the field, and so you can return that Bestial to the hand to either use again next turn, or if you hadn't used it that turn, to use again then. The next card is the Tri-Brigade Link. So Tri-Brigade is part of the Abyss lore. It's where Kit and Albaz go after the initial Dogmatica conflict. This card is honestly not that great for Tri-Brigade because you need 3 or more Tri-Brigade spells are trapped in your graveyard, which doesn't happen very often. But what this is a great Ultimate Slayer target, right? And so the reason is this, that you can send this off of Ultimate Slayer, and then you could send one Beast Warrior, Winged Beast monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So you could send another, say, Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ that's a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast from your extra deck to the graveyard. So it just gives you a little bit of flexibility there. It's an interesting card coming out in the set. Next, and one of my personal favorites in the set, is White Zoa. This card seems really nuts, but it's not as good as I wish it was. So first off, it's a ritual monster, which you can make with Dogmata Calamity, I believe is the one that sends from a monster from the extra deck to ritual summon. And there's a new synchro coming out that has a graveyard effect that's a level 12, so it has really great synergy with this. But this card is unaffected by activated Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, so basically extra deck monsters effects. And during your main phase, you can make your opponent choose one of these effects. So they send one card from the hand and or extra deck to the graveyard for every 2 cards in their extra deck, which is nuts. And then you can also return all Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, and Link monsters they control to the extra deck. It's really good. The only problem is a lot of decks get off and go to the graveyard, but it also really dope artwork. So next up is Tally-Ho Springons. This card gives Springons honestly a lot of good extending plays and also starting plays, and so I think there's Yassine on YouTube has a combo video with this. I'd go check it out, but this is a huge bump to Springons. Next up is Kashtira support. So as we know, Kashtira is getting a ton of support in Photon Hypernova. The first up is going to be their field spell, and so it functions almost the same as Prime Planet Perlerino for tier, where you can add one Kashtira monster from your deck to your hand, and if Shang-Yi-Ra activates its effect, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. It's it's really good. It's a 3 of mandatory in Kashtira, and then even Tira is going to play this to a degree to search out Fenrir, so they can grab one of the other cards that we're going to talk about, which we can just jump ahead, which is Kashtira, Terelements Kashtira, I guess. So this card says you can quick effect special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, banish one Kashtira or Terelements monster from your hand or graveyard, and then mill 3 cards from either player's deck. This is going to be Terelements' main way to mill after Photon Hypernova, and it's a huge card for the meta. It's going to change how Tier plays, and they're basically just not even going to run a Shizu anymore. So definitely a card I'd be looking out for. Next up, Kashtira Papyrus, which actually apparently means hell. So target one Kashtira monster you control and special summon one Kashtira monster with a different attribute from your deck in defense position. A lot of times what you're going to do with this is you're going to summon Unicorn, and then you're going to use Unicorn effect to add this, so then you can special summon out a Fenrir, and then use Fenrir's effect to add, say, a Rise Heart, which we'll talk about in a second. And then you can go into your rank 7 plays. It's one of the main cards in the Kashtira strategy. Next up, Kashtira Rise Heart. So this one is, it's the level 4, say, Visas Starfrost. It's a warrior. If you look at Scareclaw, they have Reichardt, which is a level 4 warrior. If you look at Tyr, they have Rhino Heart, which is level 4. This is Rise Heart. And so you can special summon this card from your hand if you control a Kashtira monster. And then if it's normal or special summon, you can banish one Kashtira monster from card from your deck. And then banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck face down. And if you do, this card's level becomes 7. So it's a rank 7 enabler. It allows Shang Era's effect to activate, which then means that you could go into Kashtira Rise Heart, which we'll talk about in a second as well. It's just, that's another really crazy card. Kashtira Rise Heart is up next. Kashtira Rise Heart is basically the main reason that Kashtira is even going to be a deck here. So basically what Kashtira Rise Heart does is that any card that would be sent to the graveyard is banished instead. That is not an activated effect. It's a constant effect. And then once per chain, each time a card is banished face down, you can attach one banished card to this card as material. And then once per turn, quick effect, detach 3 materials from this card and then target one card on the field and banish it face down. It's such a good card. It's why Kashtira is going to be meta after Photon Hypernova. I'd expect this to be a secret, and you would probably want to run 2 in your Kashtira deck. Next up, in the archetype support, Gishki gets a little bit of a boost, and we saw some Gishki Sprite builds topping over in on the OCG. This is the main deck monster, which basically says if you special summon or normal it, you can special summon one Gishki monster from your deck, which you're going to normally grab Gishki Abyss, and so that then gives you another level 2 on the field that you could link into Elf, or you could overlay into Gigantic, or you could ritual summon, because these can be used as the entire tribute for a Gishki, a water ritual monster. And you would be ritual summoning into Eva Gishki. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But this card is essentially just it's a reborn for a water monster, but it's also when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can return one Gishki ritual monster, i.e. this card, to the hand, and if you do, negate the activation and shuffle that card into the deck. So it's another form of interaction that Sprite has if they play Gishki. Next up is the new spell card. And so this is a one of in the new Gishki build. Otherwise, I believe they play like either 1 or 2 of the Aquamirror. For the next archetype card is Big Welcome Labyrinth. So Big Welcome Labyrinth is the new Labyrinth card that's coming out. It is a huge boost to the deck, and it's going to be really sought after for Labyrinth players. Final archetype support is the Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. So Galaxy Eyes is not going to be meta by any stretch of the imagination, but this card is really cool. You can XYZ summon it by using number 62 as material, and then if it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as material, which it probably will, it gains these effects. It's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, and it gains attack equal to the combined levels and ranks of all monsters attached to the material as 100. So probably going to at least get another, 800 attack. So it'll be a 4800 beater that's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects that can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during the battle phase. So it's a really cool card. And then next up, we have Triple Tactic Tasking. So this is our first just generic great card out of Photon Hypernova. It's definitely seeing play in the OCG as a side deck card. Basically, if your opponent has activated a monster effect this card, you can set 1 normal spell trap directly from your deck, except this card. And it cannot be activated this turn. Or if your opponent controls a monster, you can add that card to your hand instead. And so what you do is if you're going first, you play this, and then if they hand trap you or something, you can play that and set a trap directly from your deck and search out what you need to interrupt your opponent. So it's pretty crazy. It's definitely going to be a card that I would be looking out for. And then finally, we've got Hiding Sea. So Hiding Sea says when your opponent special summons a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position, and if you do, change it to face up defense position during the end of this turn. If this card is flipped face up during the end phase, you destroy all special summon monsters on the field. So the reason that this is important is that your opponent, say going first, if you summon this, it forces them to have to deal with it on that turn, which might mean that they have to go in like an unoptimal route to get rid of this, right? Now, obviously, there's things like Barone that you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it, and you get the negate, but a lot of cards are either negate or you get to destroy something on the field. So it forces them to do an unoptimal play and maybe have like 1 less negation on the field. I really like this card. I think it's cool. I don't know if it'll see immediate meta play, but it'll be good to have at least a couple copies. So, all right. And that is it with all the cards in Photon Hypernova that I am looking forward to, and I think that you should be looking forward to as well. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button so you can get more great content, and I'll see you next time on Ghost Bros Gaming.
Ghost.